It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Weakness is the scent of blood on the battlefield. The moment you reveal it, predators sharpen their teeth. In every era, from the courts of Florence to the modern boardroom, the same law applies. Weakness invites attack. Those who stand before you are always calculating, testing, probing for the slightest fracture. Show hesitation, and you become prey. The predator's instinct is not a myth, but a reality etched into human behavior. In conflict, in negotiation, even in silence across the table, weakness signals opportunity. When soldiers faltered in formation, entire armies collapsed. When leaders trembled, their advisors plotted against them. Today, the same principle is alive, though cloaked in modern clothes. A pause too long in speech, a voice lowered in apology when none is needed, an anxious smile that betrays uncertainty, each becomes an invitation for others to press, to dominate, to seize ground you surrendered. You live this law daily in the arenas you walk. A job interview where your hands fidget and eyes dart away. A negotiation where you soften your demand, thinking you appear polite, but instead you reveal you can be bent. A relationship argument where you retreat too quickly, eager for peace, only to set the precedent that your voice carries little weight. These are not harmless habits. They are banners of surrender raised on the field. Weak. I hope this is okay. Strong. This is what I require. Weak. Sorry to bother you. Strong. I need 10 minutes of your time. Each word choice either builds a fortress or digs a grave. Consider the moment when someone interrupts you in front of others. If you yield, nod, and shrink back, the perception is set. You are a lesser piece on the board. But if you pause, lift your head, and with calm control reclaim the floor, the dynamic shifts instantly. Authority is not volume or aggression. It is the refusal to let weakness bleed into the room. Command yourself first. Your breath, your words, your posture, and others fall into formation. Remember, perception is the throne. You sit upon it only when you guard it fiercely. To look weak is to step down willingly and hand the crown to another. To project strength, even in silence, is to remain sovereign. The stakes are not abstract. They are the ground beneath your feet, the respect in every exchange, the power to shape your destiny. The law is brutal, but clear. Never look weak. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. The throne begins in the mind, and if you cannot sit firmly upon it, weakness rules you before any enemy does. History shows this with merciless clarity. Kings who lacked discipline of thought became prisoners of their whims. Roman emperors who indulged every impulse saw their empires fracture. Leaders who confused comfort with control were overthrown by men with steadier minds. The crown is not first placed on the head, it is forged in the discipline of the inner court. Your thoughts are soldiers. When disciplined, they march in formation, guard the gates, and protect your authority. When scattered, they desert you in the moment you need them most. Self-doubt is the assassin inside the walls. It whispers during challenges, telling you to lower your head, to retreat, to yield. The enemy outside does not need to attack if the traitor within has already opened the gates. In the modern world, this betrayal shows up as overthinking before speaking, apologizing for existing, or hesitating until opportunities vanish. Weak, maybe I could try. Strong, this is what I will do. Weak, I don't know if I'm ready. Strong, I am prepared to begin. Language is not decoration, it is command. Every phrase either crowns you or strips you. If you do not claim this throne, others will. Your enemies, rivals, or even well-meaning peers will shape the perception of who you are. The battlefield is not only physical but psychological, and perception decides victory. To master the mind is to sit upon the throne. To leave it unguarded is to hand it away without a fight. Every moment you either command your thoughts or you become ruled by them. The cost of failure is exile from your own authority. The reward of mastery is sovereignty that no one can steal. Rule the mind or be ruled. It is better to be impetuous than cautious, because fortune is a woman. The first strike of the day is the hour you rise. Morning is not a casual opening. It is the battlefield where your empire is decided. Leaders and generals across history understood this. Roman commanders began their days with rituals of order, preparing their soldiers before the sun had fully risen. Monks in rigid disciplines carved hours of prayer and labor to forge willpower sharper than steel. When the head of an army rose with discipline, the men followed. When he drifted, the entire force wavered. The pattern is simple: command the first hour and the rest obeys. Contrast that with the modern drift. The alarm rings, and the first decision arrives: to rise or to retreat. A single act of snoozing becomes a surrender flag. Scrolling aimlessly through a glowing screen is not harmless. It is equivalent to leaving your camp gates wide open while the enemy gathers at dawn. You may not see spears or banners, but the effect is the same. Your authority over the day weakens, and you begin in defeat. Weak. 5 more minutes. Strong. Up now, no hesitation. Weak. I'll check my phone first. Strong. I set the direction before the world intrudes. The smallest choices at sunrise echo like war drums across the hours that follow. The morning is not neutral time. It is the campaign map where you position your forces. When you march into it with clarity, the enemy of distraction has no ground. When you drift, every rival, fatigue, doubt, noise claims territory before you even step onto the field. Imagine a soldier entering battle with armor half-buckled and weapons unsharpened. That is you, if you let your first hour dissolve in weakness. But if you treat morning as a march to war, each action becomes a command signal, rising without hesitation, moving your body, setting your mind before voices of the world interfere. These are not routines, they are declarations of sovereignty. The discipline of dawn is the crown of command. You do not wait for energy, you create it. You do not hope for order, you impose it. Each morning offers the throne again, and the decision is made in minutes. Charge forward, and the empire of your day holds strong. Retreat, and weakness poisons every campaign that follows. Win the morning, and you win the throne. Silence is not weakness, it is armor sharpened into a blade. Machiavelli advised rulers to measure words with care, for speech exposes the mind. Sun Tzu wrote that concealment of strategy is the essence of war. Those who spoke sparingly often appeared stronger than those who bled truth in every direction. When a ruler withheld his thoughts, he became untouchable, forcing others into uncertainty. Stillness is not absence, it is pressure. It makes others reveal themselves while you remain hidden. In today's world, weakness is often displayed not on the battlefield, but in the noise of daily life. Oversharing online, explaining too much in conversations, or reacting emotionally to minor provocations all announce vulnerability. A careless post or an uncontrolled outburst is equivalent to dropping your shield in the middle of combat. Weak. I don't know if I can handle this. Strong. I will handle this. Weak. Sorry, I just got upset. Strong. I'll address this directly. Every word becomes either an arrow you launch or one that pierces you. The noise trap seduces you into exposing fears, desires, and insecurities before the wrong eyes. The more you explain, the less they respect you. The more you react, the more they push. Restraint is not passivity, it is dominance disguised as quiet. Imagine a colleague trying to provoke you in front of others. raising their voice and pressing for a reaction. If you meet noise with noise, you lower yourself to the arena of weakness. But if you pause, hold silence, and then respond with calm precision, the dynamic flips. Your stillness unsettles them because it denies them control. Authority is not frantic energy, it is measured power. The battlefield of perception always rewards the one who waits, then strikes once with accuracy. Stillness creates phantom power. It cloaks you in mystery. Others wonder what you think, where you stand, what you are planning. That uncertainty makes them cautious. They move slower, second-guessing themselves, because you reveal nothing. In war, the unseen army is feared more than the visible one. In life, the man who does not reveal his every thought becomes the figure no one can pin down. Stillness hides weakness, projects control, and leaves others playing a game you already mastered. Silence is the cloak of kings. Weakness tolerated becomes weakness multiplied. History teaches this in every empire that rotted from within. Leaders who hesitated to eliminate threats were consumed by them. Caesar's failure to act decisively against senators he suspected led to the daggers in his back. Monarchs who allowed rivals to linger in their courts soon found themselves overthrown. Machiavelli warned that mercy without strategy often turns to ruin. To preserve power, rulers cut swiftly, even when the strike felt harsh. Ruthless elimination was not cruelty, it was survival. The same law applies in your life. Weakness grows when you let it live. Excuses are parasites that feed on discipline. One skipped commitment becomes two, then a habit of surrender. Bad habits, oversleeping, procrastination, indulgence are like enemy camps forming inside your territory. Draining people who constantly take your energy without return are not harmless companions. They are infiltrators weakening your walls. Weak, it's not a big deal. Strong, this must end now. Weak, I'll deal with it later. Strong, I deal with it now. Each hesitation is permission for weakness to root deeper. Elimination is not about cruelty to others, but clarity with yourself. When you cut what undermines you, you create space for strength to grow. Picture a moment when someone repeatedly interrupts and dismisses your contributions in meetings. If you allow it once, they do it twice. Others begin to follow, and soon your authority collapses. But if you calmly stop them, claim your time and continue without apology, you eliminate the weakness of silence before it poisons perception. Authority demands that you strike quickly, not in anger, but in certainty. A boundary enforced once with precision prevents 1,000 violations later. Predators never pity weakness. In the wild, the limping animal is surrounded and torn apart, because hesitation is death. In human arenas, the principle is the same. Weakness signals prey. Ruthless elimination signals predators. The throne does not remain with the tolerant, it remains with the decisive. The more you cut what drains you, the lighter and sharper you become. Every elimination is a sharpening of the blade, a reinforcement of the fortress, a reminder to the world that you are sovereign over yourself. Do not let weakness multiply. Do not allow excuses, habits, or parasites to camp inside your gates. Eliminate swiftly, eliminate cleanly, and eliminate without regret. Cut weakness before it cuts you. The mask is a weapon. Power has always depended on what others see, not what rulers feel inside. Kings, generals, and politicians carried fears and doubts like any human being, but they never allowed those weaknesses to bleed into the public eye. A monarch who showed hesitation risked rebellion. A general who revealed panic risked desertion. The mask of command concealed the inner storms and projected stability. History is full of leaders who understood that perception commands obedience more than truth ever will. Machiavelli wrote that men judge by appearances, and few have the wisdom to see beyond what they are shown. The mask is not deception, it is armor. In modern life, the theater of command surrounds you everywhere. Executives step onto stages, cameras in their faces, and wear masks of certainty even when markets collapse behind them. Political figures deliver speeches with unwavering tones while chaos brews out of sight. In the workplace, strong leaders maintain composure in meetings even when pressure mounts. They understand that people do not follow raw emotions, they follow control. Weak. I don't know what to do. Strong. Here is the direction we will take. Weak. This situation scares me. Strong. This situation is under control. The words may not reflect inner chaos, but they shape the battlefield of perception. The mask steadies the crowd, and steady crowds keep thrones standing. You two are always performing, whether you admit it or not. Every interaction is a stage. Every conversation a form of theater. When you hesitate to put on the mask, you are unmasked by default, and weakness is revealed. Imagine facing disagreement at work. Someone questions your decision in front of others. If you frown, stumble, and let your frustration spill out, your authority cracks. But if you pause, keep your face calm, and address the concern with steady words, you maintain command. The room feels your control, not your doubt. The mask does not erase authenticity, it regulates it. You choose what to reveal, when to reveal it, and how it serves your throne. Power is not about showing every truth. It is about choosing which truths strengthen your command. The actor king understands this. Life is a stage where strength must be performed before it is believed. To lead, you must put on the mask, not as a lie but as the discipline of sovereignty. Wear it until authority becomes your second skin. The mask of command is the crown itself. Rulers who commanded nations first conquered themselves. History shows that the fiercest leaders were often men who mastered their inner storms before they could direct armies. Alexander drove himself through grueling campaigns with iron discipline. Roman generals resisted indulgence because they knew that weakness at the table spilled into weakness on the battlefield. Machiavelli noted that fortune favors the impetuous, but only when recklessness is cut down by an inner blade of discipline. Without that blade, hesitation multiplies, and hesitation is fatal. The inner assassin is the force that strikes down fear before it escapes into action. In modern life, the enemy is no less dangerous. Weakness today disguises itself as instant gratification. The easy choice appears harmless. A few more minutes of scrolling, one more indulgence, one more delay, yet each surrender sharpens the enemy's blade against you. The habit of distraction poisons focus. The craving for constant comfort erodes resilience. Weak, I'll do it later. Strong, I act now. Weak, I deserve this small escape. Strong, I choose the harder path. Each phrase trains the assassin or feeds the weakness. The predator inside you does not kill with rage, but with precision. It eliminates excuses swiftly, before they grow into parasites that control your throne. Picture a moment when self-doubt rises. You are about to speak, in a room where authority matters. The thought comes, stay quiet, avoid risk. That is the enemy at the gate. If you let it live, you step back, and perception shifts. You appear smaller, weaker, replaceable, but if the assassin moves swiftly, the hesitation is killed before it controls you. You breathe, you rise, you speak with clarity. The room registers command, not fear. Authority depends on this execution, the removal of weakness before anyone else can see it. Your enemies cannot attack what you do not allow to exist. The throne is not secured by outward displays of force, but by the hidden blade within. Every ruler has fears, but the sovereign executes them privately. The assassin within is your alter ego, the silent guard that protects your crown. It is not cruelty. It is discipline. It is not violence. It is refusal to tolerate hesitation. The more decisively you eliminate inner weakness, the less chance the world has to exploit it. Master yourself, and you cannot be overthrown. Kill hesitation, and the throne is yours. Two wolves live inside every throne, one of strength, one of weakness. Ancient warrior tribes often spoke of this duality. They taught that the wolf you feed becomes the wolf that rules you. Rituals, fasting, and relentless training were not just physical. They were ways of starving the weak wolf while feeding the strong. A warrior who indulged too often in comfort became prey. A warrior who fed discipline, endurance, and restraint became feared. The metaphor endures because it is the law of survival. The ruler of himself becomes the ruler of others. Your daily life is no different. What you consume, who you surround yourself with, and the choices you repeat are meals served to one wolf or the other. Habits are food. The content is food. The company is food. The weak wolf grows when you feed it with gossip, distraction, and excuses. It thrives on junk information, toxic relationships, and delayed action. The strong wolf grows when you feed it with deliberate action, clean focus, and environments that demand growth. Weak, I'll skip today. Strong, I act regardless. Weak, just one more distraction. Strong, I protect my time. Every small choice is a hand placing food in one mouth or the other. There is no neutrality. The wolf you feed in silence decides your strength in public. Picture that you are challenged in front of others. If you have been feeding the weak wolf, hesitation rises, your words falter, and your presence shrinks. But if you have fed the strong wolf daily, discipline, clarity, stillness, then in that moment you respond with calm authority. You do not need to roar. Your presence is enough. People sense the predator behind your eyes. They recognize that you are not prey to be tested. That power comes not from luck, but from diet, the invisible meals of discipline you fed your inner beast when no one was watching. The wolf you feed becomes the wolf you unleash. Starve the weak one until it dies of neglect. Feed the strong one until its howl makes the world cautious. This is not cruelty, but sovereignty. You are always feeding one side, and the consequences are irreversible. Life is a chessboard, and every move reveals whether you rise as king or fall as pawn. History is filled with rulers who understood this game. Generals studied the field not only as a battlefield but as a board of strategy. Statesmen in Florence, Rome, and beyond treated alliances, betrayals, and treaties as calculated moves. They knew that one careless step could cost an empire. Machiavelli observed that men who fail to anticipate shifts in fortune are destroyed, while those who adapt like skilled players secure power. To win, you must see 3 moves ahead, not just the piece in front of you. In modern life, the same board lies beneath your feet. Jobs, relationships, and networks are pieces in play. Where you place yourself matters more than raw talent. If you allow yourself to drift into weak positions, you are boxed in quickly, sacrificed when convenient. A career without foresight leaves you trapped, working endlessly while others leap ahead. Relationships without boundaries position you as a pawn, moved at the will of others. Weak, I'll take what I can get. Strong, I choose where I stand. Weak, I'll wait for chances. Strong, I create openings. Each phrase reflects either reactive moves or deliberate strategy. Positioning is power, and without it, even strong pieces are wasted. Consider a disagreement at work. A rival challenges your decision in front of others. If you argue recklessly, you play like a pawn, reacting without foresight. But if you step back, assess the room, and respond with a clear, calculated point, you shift the board in your favor. The rivals spent their move in haste. You invested yours with precision. Over time, those who play rashly are eliminated, while those who position themselves with foresight command the board. Authority is never the result of luck. It is the product of deliberate placement. The final gambit belongs to those who understand sacrifice. Weak players are sacrificed by others. Strong players sacrifice strategically, trading what is small to protect what is sovereign. A pawn clings to survival, but dies unnoticed. A king secures survival by letting lesser pieces fall when necessary. You cannot protect everything, and pretending you can is weakness. Learn to give up what drains you, so you can preserve what crowns you. The chessboard demands clarity. Are you moving pieces, or are you the piece being moved? Play like a king, or be played like a pawn. Weakness is shattered, not by chance, but by ritual. History is clear. Monks, soldiers, and rulers carved iron will through repetition that forged them into figures others could not bend. Monastic orders rose before dawn, fasting, praying, and laboring with unbreakable schedules. Their discipline turned suffering into strength. Soldiers trained endlessly, drilling the same motions until their bodies moved without hesitation. The repetition was not punishment, it was armor. A warrior who lived in ritual became unshakable when chaos arrived. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors those who prepare with discipline, not those who hope for mercy. Ritual is the crucible where strength is born. Modern life may not demand swords and armor, but the battlefield is no less real. The rituals you choose decide whether you are forged or fractured. Cold showers, physical training, fasting, disciplined study. Each act is a strike of the hammer on the anvil of your will. Weak. I'll do it when I feel like it. Strong. I do it whether I feel like it or not. Weak. It's uncomfortable. I'll stop. Strong. Discomfort sharpens me. These modern rituals are not proving toughness to others. They are about proving command to yourself. Every time you repeat a hard act without excuse, you build a fortress that weakness cannot breach. Willpower is not a gift. It is trained like a soldier in the field. Imagine a moment of disagreement where pressure rises. A colleague challenges your plan in front of others. If you lack ritual discipline, your emotions flare, words stumble, and the perception of control evaporates. But if your will has been tempered daily, you stay calm, breathe, and answer with authority. Ritual prepares you for war long before the war begins. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. A disciplined ritual means that even under fire, you act with clarity, not chaos. To become untouchable is to cross the line where weakness evaporates and only aura remains. History remembers rulers whose presence alone silenced opposition. Alexander carried himself with such authority that men followed him across continents. Roman generals radiated command that bound legions together even in impossible campaigns. Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by what they see than what they touch, and few probe beyond the surface. This is why aura matters more than explanations. A leader who appeared steady was treated as steady even when storms raged inside. Their shield was not armor of steel, but armor of perception. Modern untouchability is forged in different arenas, but the principle has not changed. Your reputation is the fortress. Your digital presence is the banner. Your silence is the weapon. In an age where everyone exposes their every thought, the one who withholds becomes rare. even feared. Weak. Here is everything I feel. Strong. Here is what serves my purpose. Weak. I post without a filter. Strong. I reveal only what strengthens me. Authority today is not only physical presence, but the controlled image you project across networks. When you guard your words, control your tone, and move deliberately, you create an aura that others hesitate to challenge. They sense you do not bleed weakness for the crowd, and that restraint itself makes you powerful. Imagine being challenged directly in a room. Someone pushes hard, expecting you to defend yourself with frantic energy. If you react impulsively, they succeed in lowering you. But if you pause, remain calm, and respond with measured certainty, you reveal untouchability. You did not give them access to your emotions. You forced them to face the aura you projected, not the raw reaction they wanted. Command is not in shouting, it is in being unmoved. When others cannot penetrate you, they shift into caution, even respect. Untouchability is not about being distant, it is about being unassailable. The throne ascended is not only the seat of power, but the aura that surrounds it. To the world it appears divine, unreachable, protected by forces they cannot see. You build this not in a single act, but through years of consistent discipline. Silence when others spill, restraint when others rage, strength when others crumble. Over time you become more than a participant. You become the figure others measure themselves against. That is untouchability. It is the final stage of sovereignty, when your aura becomes armor and perception itself bends to your presence. Come untouchable, and the throne is yours forever. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. With those words, Machiavelli revealed the heart of strategy. Survival belongs to the sovereign, who does not flinch. Every law you have heard until now, throne, battlefield, mask, assassin, wolf, chessboard, was not separate, but part of one war. The climax is this: weakness must be annihilated at every level, because life itself is war. Every hour is contested, every conversation is a duel, every hesitation is a gate left unguarded. To live without this awareness is to stumble across a battlefield, unaware that arrows already fly. To live with it is to step onto the field, armed, armored, and unshaken. The battlefield reframed is not only in history books or on literal front lines. It is present when you walk into a meeting, when you enter negotiations, when you look someone in the eye. In ancient campaigns, a single lapse doomed thousands. In modern life, the same pattern repeats in smaller arenas. The professional who enters the room unprepared is crushed by rivals who studied longer. The partner who fails to guard their boundaries is consumed by manipulation. The individual who treats mornings casually begins the day already defeated. Weakness is never neutral. It is always exploited. That is why the throne must be defended daily, the battlefield confronted hourly, the mask worn precisely, the assassin unleashed instantly, the wolf fed deliberately, and the chessboard played with foresight. Each law interlocks to form one principle: never weak, never live weak. The predator's final feast is strength itself. In nature, predators consume the slow, the distracted, the unguarded. In society, predators feast in different ways on status, opportunity, and reputation. If you hesitate, they seize the contract. If you tremble, they take your authority. If you expose too much, they weaponize your words. The world does not pity weakness, it consumes it, yet strength shifts the law. When you project strength consistently, when you carry stillness, when your aura suggests control, the predators stop circling and begin yielding. They recognize that you are not prey, but sovereign. Weak. I hope this works. Strong. This will work. Weak, I'll wait to see what happens. Strong, I will decide what happens. These are not lines, they are signals. The feast belongs to the one who commands, not the one who waits. Imagine being confronted in public. A rival raises their voice, trying to corner you. The untrained collapse, their weakness bleeding out for all to see. The trained remain calm, their silence louder than shouts. When they finally speak, the words land like steel. The room shifts. Authority does not come from volume, but from presence. The predator inside you has fed long enough on discipline and restraint that when released, it commands fear without cruelty. That is the feast, the moment when others realize you cannot be broken, and they retreat without you lifting a hand. And now, the crowning of the king. You have marched through every law, the throne of the mind, the battlefield of dawn, the weapon of stillness, the blade of ruthless elimination, the mask of command, the assassin within, the wolf of strength, the chessboard of life, the iron ritual. Each principle was not separate, but part of one forging. Together they burn away hesitation until nothing remains but sovereignty. Untouchability is the aura that now surrounds you. Weakness is no longer visible because weakness has been executed. Authority flows not from effort, but from being. You no longer chase respect. It bends toward you. You no longer beg for influence, you embody it. The crown is not handed down, it is seized through mastery of self and the annihilation of weakness. This is the convergence of war, when every law fuses into one truth. To rule others, you must first rule yourself. To rule yourself, you must kill weakness at its root. Only then do you stand as sovereign. A figure others cannot pierce, a presence others cannot dismiss. The battlefield is life, and life crowns only the strong. Annihilate weakness, ascend the throne. Weakness invites chains. History has never been kind to those who revealed too much softness. Rulers who hesitated were conquered. Generals who faltered in front of their men lost not only battles, but loyalty. Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved. For fear is under your control while love rests in the hands of others. To appear weak is to hand over control. Those who see weakness rarely leave it unpunished. They exploit it, use it, and discard it. Modern life disguises the same law in subtler forms, but the result is unchanged. In the workplace, the leader who avoids conflict and apologizes unnecessarily is quietly bypassed for the one who projects certainty. In relationships, the person who never sets boundaries becomes drained, disrespected, and ignored. Weak, I hope this is okay. Strong, this is what I expect. Weak, I don't want to cause trouble. Strong, this must be addressed. The world bends not to intentions, but to presence. When you show strength through calm silence, decisive words, or steady action, others adjust to you. When you show weakness, you adjust to them. Perception is the throne, and you either sit on it or kneel before it. You must remember that strength does not always roar. It is often quiet control, the refusal to be provoked, the discipline to stand firm when others waver. Imagine someone raising their voice at you, trying to dominate the room. If you react emotionally, you lose command. But if you hold your ground, maintain composure, and respond with measured clarity, the balance shifts. Authority flows toward the one who appears unshaken. Strength in perception becomes strength in reality, because others move according to how they see you. The final promise is this: when you master strength, perception, destiny, and fear bend to you. Weakness makes you prey. Strength crowns you sovereign. Every law, every ritual, every mask has pointed to this truth. You cannot afford to look weak, because the throne bows only to power. Hold yourself with discipline. Guard your presence with silence. Strike with precision when you must. And let this law burn into your mind as the closing seal of command. Never look weak, for the throne bows only to strength.